Hey everybody, it's Dina Rico with the Creativity Cave, and I'm so thrilled to be sharing this card with you because this card totally made me do the happy dance when I made it, and I think it's awesome. I hope you will too. It combines a couple of techniques that I've shown. One is faux watercoloring, which is a technique I showed not quite a year ago, and that is on my cute little watering can. And then the other technique is the doodle flowers, and that was a Friday quickie, I think last week. So all of this information, by the way, with links to both of these techniques with other videos are on my blog. So you can check out the link to that in the description of this video. You can also subscribe here. If you click on that, you'll subscribe to my channel and you'll never miss any amazing cards. So I really can't wait to share this with you. So let's get started. Okay, I know I'm a little spazzy about this one, but I really like it. So this card is so beautiful and it's really pretty easy to make. There is a couple of things to have in mind when making this card. First of all, the key to the whole thing is watercolor paper. Watercolor paper makes the whole thing possible. If you don't have watercolor paper, don't even bother, because that is what makes watercoloring look amazing and work amazing. The second is I'm going to use aqua painters and well, actually kind of a bunch of ink colors. I have them all stacked up right here. This is kind of a lot. So two of them we just hardly use. So two colors, we have one is Smoky Slate, and that's just for the watering can, and Pool Party is just so your watering can is not floating in free air. The rest of the colors make up the gorgeous flowers that are coming out of that watering can. Now the stamps that I'm using for this are from two sets. I have Special Celebrations, which has the sentiment on here, which I love, because this is a set that's like, I call it an innie and an outie. It actually comes in two boxes, but I combine them together so they fit better in the case, and then I just put the two different sheets in there and they will fit just fine. And then I never put my labels on my stamps because they stick better to the blocks without the labels. That's just my personal preference. And these can be found, or I'm sorry, this stamp set is at the beginning of the catalog, but the reason I like it is because it has innie and outie sayings. So like the outie saying here is the happy birthday, and then the innie saying is hope your day brings just what it should, happiness, health, and everything good. So that goes on the inside, and then this goes on the outside. I should say the innie and the outie. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. Okay, the other stamp set I'm using is Grown with Love, and this is a bundle, and I absolutely love this. And I think what really sold me on this bundle in particular were the fact that there's all these smaller flowers that you can cut individually out. It's not just the whole big piece. You can cut that out too. So like for this one, there's a piece that cuts this out, like, or no, that's this one, sorry. Oh my gosh, is it? I don't know. It's one of these. Here, we'll do it on here. There we go. It cuts that out. But then there's also the smaller pieces that cut out the individual flowers. Like, how genius is that? So for instance, you can cut that flower out, and you can cut that flower out, and you can cut that flower out. Yay! Okay, are you like celebrating with me? Because you should be. Okay. So that makes this bundle, I think, in particular, really, really useful. Okay, now I've got all my pieces back in here. Let's make the card, shall we? All right, so I have a whole bunch of tips to help you make this. First of all, we're going to start with stamping our watering can. I'm going to even put it on my block a little bit more straight, so when I stamp it, it works out better. Now, the key to really getting that soft look is to stamp off the first layer of ink, okay, because then it'll be much lighter. And then when we do that, you can see it stamps okay, but it doesn't look wonderful yet. So what we're going to do is take our aqua painter and just go over it and blend it a little bit so that it is kind of that fancy watercoloring look, but without the amazing mad skills of a true watercolor artist. Because I know people are going to say that they think I'm an artist, but let's be honest. I got into stamping because I can't draw. And I think that's the beauty of stamping, is it makes you really an artist. Now you can see this is really starting to look pretty, and you can kind of, I mean, not that it wasn't pretty before, but it just gives you a little bit more of that watercolor look. Now the teeny little dots up here, and then the little dots that are kind of decoration right here under what I'm coloring right now, I'm going to leave those be. I'm not even going to bother touching them because they're fine as they are. But everything else you can see I watercolored. It helps if you have a good, nice tip on your aqua painter. I have some older aqua painters that, let's just say, have been a little more loved than this one. We will leave those be. Okay, so we're going to let that dry. We're also going to prep all of our other ink pads. So I squeeze the lid to the pad, and then I open it up so that we can get the color out. I know that it's going to drive a couple of you bananas that I even have these ink pads open, but it's okay. It will be okay. Don't you worry. It's pretty rare that I get myself into trouble with ink pads. Do you notice the light color sweater I have on? It'll be okay, guys. I like to reassure you. Okay, so I've got all of them ready to go. And I'm going to sit down. I do better watercoloring when I sit down. All right, now the other tip I have for you is to have a little cloth or rag or paper towel or something next to you. I have just an old rag that I'm going to use, and it really helps to clean off your brush with that rag. Otherwise your background paper will be covered in water. All right, now to start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Berry Burst first, and I'm just going to add 3 little kind of circle-y things. And, well, I'm kind of doing U things. So a U with a top on it, okay? And then the darker you want them, the more ink you can just use on your aqua painter. Okay, so there we go. I've got 3 flowers on there. We'll clean off my brush, close the ink pad, and go on to the next one. Now on here, my next kind of largest one is going to be in Bermuda Bay. Now what I'm trying to do is really get my bouquet filled out a bit on my above my watering can. So I want to make sure that I do get some flowers kind of going out a little ways, you know what I mean? And we're going to add some doodles afterwards on these flowers using our journaling pens. So just keep that in mind. All right, now I've got a couple of those, and I'm just basing this off my sample. It's not a tried and true, it's just whatever you want. And then next I'm going to do some dots with Night of Navy. And these, again, are just circles. And if you want them a little darker, you can totally make them darker. Come back and add some more color. These are, like, I'm looking at these and I'm thinking these are a little lighter than the ones in my sample, but that's, I mean, it's whatever you want, because this is your card. We need something over here, don't we? I think so. All right, so I'll go a little darker on a couple of these. Now, where I think this card really sings is, of course, the greenery, but we're not quite there yet. We're getting close, though. Now, one thing I'm going to add to, just because my ink pad is open and I'm ready, is I've got some Pool Party, and I just want to do a little ground. Okay, you want your watering can sitting on the ground, not free floating in the air. Trust me when I say that, it makes a difference. All right, so now we're down to 2 colors. We've got Peekaboo Peach and our Lemon Lime Twist for greenery. So for Peekaboo Peach, I'm just going to add some little dots around to just kind of add some fun to our bouquet. And nothing fancy. Just a little extra something to kind of fill it out, okay? And I think that is good. Last but not least, we need greenery in a bad way, don't you think? So I'm going to go ahead and get my lemon lime twist going. So I always want to have some leaves, and they are, I mean, a leaf is really just this, you know, smaller. Very easy. This does not take a great deal of skill because, like I said, I can't draw, but I can kind of do blobs. Now you see I also have little lines like that. Here, I'll do it a little darker so you can see. And that's just like sprigs, you know, that would come out of a bouquet. So just think of the things you would have, you know, in a bouquet. And also know that it's your card. You can make it however you want. I think that's helpful information. Okay. And maybe some stuff here and here. Then what we also need to do are have some lines coming down to represent the stems. Okay, and the stems don't have to go all the way down necessarily. They just need to be kind of in there, and part of it is just to fill in the space. Okay, so I think we're looking pretty good here. I might do one more line right there. All right, now the next thing, and this is really important, is we need to let things dry. Okay. Before we do anything else, it has to be completely dry. Now my watering can is nice and dry, so I can actually add my sentiment. And I stamped my sentiment in Night of Navy. So I'm going to come back and do that while we're waiting for the flowers up here to dry. And I'm just going to test my sentiment a little bit. There we go. If you don't let it dry, what happens is the words will feather out, and that is not good. Okay, now the last part to finish up our coloring is that we need our journaling pens. And oops, I got two of the same. I have a couple sets of these. There we go. So there is a really, really fine tip one. That's the 01. And then there's a bit bolder one. That is the 05. And you can use whichever ones you prefer. I like the finer one. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take on my Berry Burst ones. I'm going to kind of do a swirl at the top and then draw the outline. Okay, so I'm doing a swirl at the top. It's hard to see when you get tiny. And then I'm just doing the outline. Swirl and the outline. And again, can we again reiterate, I'm not an artist. I don't draw. Okay, so then, sometimes I like doing this upside down, by the way. So then here I'm going to have a starting point and I'm just going to draw lines up like that. And then I'm going to add dots at the top of each line. Okay, and by the way, in case you were wondering what magnificent thing I used as inspiration for this, I went on Pinterest and looked up doodle watercolors, and that's where I got a lot of these doodle ideas for what to fill in my flowers with. Now inside my blue navy ones, I'm just going to draw a little ring of circles. And here again, I think that really goes to show you don't need artistic skill to do this. You just need to try. And you don't see these a lot because we did make these pretty dark, but they're in there. And then I'm also going to put a little dot inside each of my Peekaboo Peach little thingies, just for fun. Okay, then what I can do with my leaves is just, no, again, that's all I'm doing. And that really just kind of completes the sketchy look of all of this to go with the flowers. Okay, so there we go. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? I'm so excited. I hope you guys are too. All right, now last thing, let's put this card together. It's really easy. I took the Garden Lattice embossing folder and I embossed. Now you can have it raised or debossed. I kind of like the debossed. I'm sort of weird that way. I like those debossed patterns sometimes. And then I have a piece of Night of Navy, pardon me. And then I'm just gonna, actually I put it on here kind of cocked to one side. I like the look of that. And then, all right, I've attached that. Then what I'm going to do is, of course, attach this to my card. And like so. And then last but not least, I'm going to add a bow with my crinkle ribbon, which, by the way, is kind of the most awesome invention ever. So you could do navy on this too, and it will look great. I love this ribbon because it's super duper flat and thin, so the post office won't have an aneurysm when you go to mail this, or you won't have an aneurysm when you go to pay for mailing this card. That makes me happy. Okay, and I'll just trim this down. Now I'm going to adhere this actually with fast fuse instead of with just a glue dot like I typically would. And I think it just holds on a little better like that. Isn't that adorable? Oh my gosh. I hope you loved this card. I hope if you need to purchase any of these items, you will please consider shopping my online store. I would love to have you as a customer. And when you order through the Creativity Cave, you become a VIP Rewards member, and there's all kinds of awesome perks. So check all those details out on my blog. Again, the links are in the description of this video. There's also links directly to my store from this video as well. So check out that description, and all the information you need is in there. Thank you so much for stamping with me today, guys. Oh, wait. There's one more thing. We got to do the inside. Hello. I can't believe I almost forgot that. Remember we had an innie and an outie? So I just have a piece of cardstock that I am going to take and stamp. And I'm going to put my sentiment right on there like so. And that's really it. If I wanted to jazz this up a little bit though, I could. So let me give you a couple tips. I'm just going to do a couple of lines across here. Did I put anything in here originally? Actually, now I can't remember. Oh, no, I didn't. So, I've got a couple of lines. Wait, was that? Yeah, okay. Just checking. And I'll do maybe a couple of these lines here. I did this on a card recently. That's why I was kind of like, what? And just a couple of watercolor lines to be kind of fun and cute. Oh, sorry if I'm holding that right over the top. Now this is Whisper White cardstock, and so it's not going to give you the same watercolory look that watercolor paper will, but I think watercolor paper would be a little weird to put on the inside of this card at this point. So anyway, that is really cute, except this is bugging me, so we'll fill that in better. There we go. Okay, so now we'll adhere this to the inside of our card, and then all is good in the world. Don't you think? So whose day would not be brightened by this card? Oh my gosh, I love it. Thanks again for stamping with me today. We'll see you again soon, but guys, bye.